Let's take a look at how we can create a succession management system for this organization. In order to do this, we'll only go for location 1. So we deselect all the locations and we click location 1. This limits our data sets to a, let's click Ctrl A, 73 records. Well, that's nice. That's a much smaller population. If we then sort by the largest potential and the largest performance, you see that, well, let's go for potential, because if we talk about succession management, potential should be leading. We have a number of people. How many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people in total who are ready to be promoted to a next level. And 3 of them are performing really, really well and are ready to be promoted. So I don't know what the rank of these people are, but they're performing really well. This person is only 19 years old, so it's probably he's probably quite junior. But we also have someone who's 44 years old, performing really well and great potential to be promoted. Okay, I'll now add a few names to make this exercise more fun. Wim is a CEO, and Wim is about to leave the organization. Who can replace Wim? And Wim is not the only critical function, but there's a number of critical functions. So we have Wim, CEO, we have Jake, VP of Sales, and we have Trey, who is the VP of Marketing, and we have Jane, who is the VP of, let's say, Operations. Well, what will happen when these people leave? That's the big question. Now, how you can do this is by creating a framework or a grid. Let's do it by formatting the cell and say, hey, we create a border, a solid border inside and outside. And we have a number of potential candidates. The potential candidates are the ones with the high potential ratings. Why? Because they are ready for the next level. They are ready for the next step, for the next promotion. For example, Jill, who is quite senior and ready to be promoted, is a great candidate. We have Mike, who is a great candidate. We have Susan. The other people are a bit young. And of course, when you have tenure and rank in the organization as extra information, this exercise becomes much easier. How would you go about it? For example, Jill, if you find out Jill's records, you'll see that Jill, for example, is very good at doing the operational stuff. So Jill could potentially replace the CEO, but also the VP of operations, who is the COO, but here they only work with a CEO and a number of VPs. Mike is very much into sales and marketing. He has a background in sales and marketing, so Mike is able to replace both Jake and Trey. Now, Susan has a mixed background. Susan has experience in operations, but also in sales and marketing. So Susan would be an ideal candidate, not for the CEO, because she's slightly too young for it, but she would be a very good candidate for the other 3 VP functions. Now, using this framework and using the information you have, and in a normal HR system you of course have much more information, you can start to create a talent framework where, as you'll see, like, hey, Wim, who's CEO, he is about to retire. He says he wants to go on an early retirement. We know that the only potential candidate that can replace Wim is Jill. So Jill is critical in succession management. We want to keep Jill inside the company. And maybe we even want to tell Jill that she could potentially replace a CEO, because if Jill will leave the organization, then a position opens up when Wim leaves, that can't be replaced because Mike and Susan and the other potentials are either too young or not suitable for the CEO position. So, as you can see, Jill is very, very critical because we know that Wim is already 61 and Wim is thinking about leaving. And this is a very basic but also a very simple starting point on doing very effective succession management. By creating these kind of schemes and identifying, on the one hand, the critical functions, so in this case the CEO and the VPs, and on the other hand, figuring out the talent pool and seeing, hey, who could potentially replace the people who are about to leave or the people who are in absolutely critical roles. Using the scheme, you can do and engage in very simple and very effective succession management. And it's a way of almost a way of planning different scenarios in which you can identify who is critical and say, hey, who can easily replace these candidates by just looking at the performance. So this is your potential talent pool, the 4s and the 3 on your potential measure. And are they actually able to replace different people in positions that are critical to the organization? And you can easily do this exercise in your own organization by identifying which people are in critical, high profile functions and, for example, what age they are. And by doing this, you can ID the people who are at risk because they want to retire, for example, and you can start to plan in your talent pool who could potentially replace them.